Dr. Sarah Chen had spent countless nights in Stanford's quantum physics lab, but this one felt different. The soft hum of equipment filled the room as she adjusted her quantum detector array, its crystalline sensors gleaming under the harsh fluorescent lights. Her colleagues had long since departed, leaving her alone with the whispers of the cosmos. The first anomaly appeared at 2:47 a.m., a subtle fluctuation in the quantum field, barely distinguishable from background noise. Sarah might have missed it entirely if she hadn't been fine-tuning the array's sensitivity protocols. Her fingers hesitated over the keyboard as she watched the pattern emerge. "That's not random," she whispered to herself, her heart beginning to race. The sequence pulsed with an artificial precision that defied natural occurrence. 12358, the beginning of the Fibonacci sequence, but encoded in quantum states that shouldn't have been possible to manipulate at such distances. Sarah reached for her phone, then stopped. She needed to be certain. The scientific community had weathered enough false alarms about alien signals. Her reputation, everything she'd worked for, would evaporate if she cried wolf. The next 4 hours passed in a blur of calculations and triple-checked data. She pulled up astronomical charts, comparing the signal's origin to known celestial bodies. The source was impossibly distant, somewhere in the Carina Nebula, over 7,000 light-years away. As dawn painted the sky in shades of pink and gold, Sarah made her first cup of coffee in hours. Her hand shook slightly as she lifted the mug to her lips. The data was undeniable. Hidden within the quantum signal was something that made her question everything she thought she knew about physics. The message contained coordinates, Earth's coordinates, written in humanity's own mathematical language. More disturbing still, woven through the quantum data were fragments of Earth's own space transmissions, some dating back decades. Old television broadcasts, radio signals, and even encrypted military communications, all reflected back to us with perfect clarity. Sarah's phone buzzed, making her jump. Dr. Marcus Way, her department head, had arrived early. "Sarah, why are all the quantum arrays still running?" he asked from the doorway, his brow furrowed with concern. She turned to him, choosing her words carefully. "Marcus, I need you to look at something. And I need you to tell me I'm not losing my mind." Over the next hour, she walked him through her findings. She watched as his expression shifted from skepticism to confusion to barely contained excitement. When she showed him the embedded Earth transmissions, he sank into a chair, running his hands through his gray hair. "My God," he whispered, "they've been watching us, studying us. For how long?" "Based on the age of some of these transmissions, at least 50 years, Sarah replied, pulling up another data set. "But that's not the most interesting part. Look at this quantum encoding. They're not just showing us. They can manipulate quantum states at incredible distances. They're showing us how they do it." Marcus leaned forward, adjusting his glasses. "It's a teaching tool." Sarah nodded, excitement building in her voice. "The mathematical patterns, the quantum states, they're structured like a primer. Like they want us to understand something specific about quantum mechanics that we've been missing." "We need to contact the NSF immediately," Marcus said, reaching for his phone. "And Sarah, document everything. Every calculation, every observation. From this moment on, everything changes." As Marcus stepped into the hallway to make his calls, Sarah turned back to her screens. The signal continued its steady pulse, like a beacon calling humanity forward. She couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't just first contact. It was first contact precisely when and how our mysterious observers wanted it to happen. In the coming days, as the world erupted into chaos and celebration, Sarah would return again and again to that thought. We weren't just being contacted. We were being tested. And humanity's response to this signal would determine our species' fate among the stars. The crystalline vessel emerged on a Tuesday afternoon, folding into existence like origami unfolding in reverse. One moment, the space above Earth was empty. The next, a structure larger than Manhattan hung in high orbit, its surface refracting sunlight in prismatic cascades that turned night into day across half the planet. In the hastily assembled Global Response Center in Geneva, Dr. Sarah Chen stood among world leaders and military officials, all watching the main display with a mixture of awe and apprehension. The alien vessel defied conventional physics. Their most advanced sensors couldn't even determine its exact dimensions, as though space itself bent around its hull. "They're broadcasting," announced Dr. Yuki Tanaka from the communications station. Her fingers danced across haptic interfaces as she worked to process the incoming signal. Wait, this can't be right. What is it?" Sarah moved to her station, followed by Ambassador Jerome Collins, Earth's hastily appointed diplomatic representative. "They're broadcasting in English, and Mandarin, and Russian. Every major Earth language simultaneously." Yuki's voice trembled slightly. "Perfect syntax and idioms. They're not just translating. They're speaking our languages like natives." The main screen flickered to life. The being that appeared looked almost like flowing liquid crystal, its form shifting subtly as it spoke. When it talked, its voice carried the warmth of a favorite professor explaining a fascinating concept. "Greetings, people of Earth. We are the Centauri Collective, though this name is an approximation chosen for your comfort. We noted your astronomers' fondness for the Alpha Centauri system in your celestial observations." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. The entity's knowledge of human culture was uncanny. "We have been studying your broadcasts, your internet, your entire digital civilization. Your potential has drawn the attention of the galactic community. You stand at a crucial junction in your development, one that will determine your place among the stars for generations to come." Ambassador Collins stepped forward, his diplomatic training kicking in despite the unprecedented situation. "We are honored by your attention and welcome peaceful contact with your civilization." The crystalline being's form rippled in what might have been amusement. "Your courtesy is noted, Ambassador Collins. Yes, we know who you are. We know all of you." Dr. Sarah Chen, whose brilliant work with quantum mechanics led to our signals detection. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, whose communications algorithms are remarkably similar to our own early developments. Sarah exchanged shocked glances with Yuki. The being continued, "We have watched humanity's progress with great interest. Your species possesses something rare in the cosmos, a unique combination of intellectual curiosity and creative problem-solving that sets you apart." The entity's form shifted, expanding to fill the screen. But potential alone is not enough. The galaxy is vast, filled with wonders and dangers beyond your current understanding. Before you can take your place among spacefaring civilizations, you must prove yourselves ready. The room tensed. Here it was, the true purpose of their arrival. "We offer you a challenge. One standard galactic year to achieve what many species take millennia to develop. Succeed, and Earth will gain full access to the galactic community, with all the benefits and responsibilities that entails. Fail." The being paused, its crystalline form darkening slightly. "Fail, and a quarantine field will be established around your solar system. You will be confined to your local space until your civilization matures sufficiently, approximately 1,000 Earth years." Murmurs of shock and protest filled the room. Ambassador Collins stepped forward again. "What exactly is this challenge?" "Your species dreams of faster-than-light travel. Achieve it within 1 galactic year, using your own innovation and understanding. We will provide no direct assistance, though the quantum signal Dr. Chen detected contains relevant information for those clever enough to decode it." The being's form began to fade. "You have 1 standard galactic year from this moment. We will watch your progress with great interest. The time of Earth's isolation is ending, humanity. The only question is whether it ends in triumph or setback." As the transmission ended, Sarah was already pulling up her notes on the quantum signal, her mind racing with new possibilities. The challenge seemed impossible, but then again, doing the impossible was a human specialty. 3 months into humanity's greatest challenge, Dr. Sarah Chen sat in her new office at the Global Sciences Initiative headquarters, surrounded by holographic displays of quantum equations. Dark circles under her eyes testify to countless sleepless nights spent analyzing the collective signal. Something about their challenge nagged at her consciousness, like a melody she couldn't quite remember. Coffee? Dr. Yuki Tanaka appeared in the doorway, holding 2 steaming cups. You look like you could use it. Sarah accepted the cup gratefully, never taking her eyes off the displays. Look at this, Yuki. The quantum information in their signal. There's something odd about it. These patterns here and here. She pointed to 2 seemingly identical sequences. They're mirror images, but they shouldn't be. It's like what? Like someone deliberately made a mistake that exactly mirrors humanity's current understanding of quantum mechanics. Sarah stood up, excitement building in her voice. Pull up our latest failed simulation. Yuki typed commands into the nearest terminal, and a new hologram sprang to life, their most recent attempt at FTL theory. It had failed spectacularly, the mathematics breaking down at the quantum level. Now overlay it with the collective's signal pattern. As the 2 data sets merge, both women gasped. The signal's errors perfectly complemented their failed calculations, like 2 pieces of a puzzle clicking together. They didn't just give us a challenge, Sarah whispered. They gave us a textbook, hidden in plain sight, written in the language of quantum mathematics. Yuki leaned closer to the displays. But why make it so obscure? Why not just tell us directly? Because the journey is part of the test. The new voice belonged to Dr. Marcus Way, who had quietly entered the office. Think about it. If they simply handed us the solution, we wouldn't truly understand it. They're not just testing our ability to achieve FTL travel. They're testing how we think. Sarah began pulling up more data sets, her fingers flying across the haptic interface. Look at these patterns. They're not just showing us the right way to do things. They're showing us where our understanding went wrong, and more importantly, why our mistakes were actually steps in the right direction. The office filled with more researchers as word spread. Each new overlay of data revealed more connections, more hidden lessons embedded in the signal. The collective had crafted a message that could only be understood by making the exact mistakes humanity had made in their scientific development. It's brilliant, Marcus mused. They're not just evaluating our current capabilities. They're testing our ability to recognize and learn from our mistakes. The signal isn't a straightforward answer. It's a series of breadcrumbs leading us through our own scientific evolution. Sarah pulled up the original signal analysis from that night at Stanford. The Fibonacci sequence at the start. It wasn't just a way to get our attention. It was telling us to look for patterns in what seemed like chaos. She turned to the assembled scientists. We've been approaching this all wrong. We've been trying to achieve FTL travel the way we think they would do it, but they're not asking us to copy their methods. They want us to develop our own way, Yuki finished, understanding dawning on her face. Exactly. And they've hidden clues about how to do that in places only humans would think to look. Sarah began reorganizing the data displays. We need to embrace our mistakes, our weird theories, our wild ideas. That's what makes us unique. Marcus nodded slowly. The collective chose this challenge specifically because they knew we'd approach it differently than any other species. The question is, what do they expect us to see that no one else has? As the team began reorganizing their research priorities, Sarah couldn't help but smile. The impossible task wasn't just a test of humanity's scientific capabilities. It was a test of their uniquely human perspective. The path to faster-than-light travel wouldn't be found in copying advanced alien technology, but in understanding why humanity's primitive approach might actually be their greatest advantage. Dawn broke over the Global Sciences Initiative's Lagos facility as Adebayo Okafor stared at his computer screen, his eyes wide with disbelief. The young programmer had spent weeks developing an algorithm to analyze the quantum patterns in the collective signal, and now something extraordinary was happening. "Dr. Chen," he called out, his voice trembling with excitement. "You need to see this." Sarah hurried over from her temporary workstation in the Legos facility, where she'd been coordinating with teams worldwide. The facility had become one of dozens of hubs in humanity's greatest scientific endeavor, with research centers across every continent working in perfect synchronization. "The quantum patterns," Adebayo explained, pulling up his results. "They're not just mathematical sequences, they're wavelengths, specific frequencies that interact with gravity itself." Sarah's breath caught as she studied the data. "Send this to Beijing immediately," she ordered, already reaching for her tablet to contact Dr. Liu Wei's gravity wave team. Within hours, the Beijing facility was buzzing with activity. Dr. Liu's team had been studying gravity wave manipulation for months, and Adebayo's discovery was the missing piece they needed. The quantum frequencies matched their gravity wave experiments perfectly. It's like discovering that two pages from different books are actually part of the same story, Dr. Liu explained during the emergency global conference call. Scientists from Tehran to Santiago listened intently as he shared his findings. In the Santiago facility, Dr. Isabella Torres practically jumped from her seat. "The resonance patterns. That's why our containment field experiments kept failing. We weren't accounting for these quantum gravity interactions." The collected ship hung in Earth's orbit, silently observing as humanity did something unprecedented in their history. Worked together without a hint of rivalry or restraint. National secrets became public knowledge. Classified research was shared freely. Scientists who once competed for grants and recognition now collaborated with unbridled enthusiasm. In Geneva, Ambassador Collins watched the proceedings with growing optimism. 6 months ago, these nations wouldn't share basic research data. Now look at them. Sarah nodded, scanning reports from facilities around the globe. The collective's challenge forced us to realize something. We're stronger together than apart. Every breakthrough builds on someone else's work. Every discovery leads to new questions that someone else might answer. The Mumbai facility reported next, their team having worked through the night to develop new quantum computing algorithms based on Adebayo's discovery. Their results would help the Moscow team refine their particle acceleration experiments, which in turn would provide crucial data for the Cairo facility's space-time manipulation tests. In a hidden bunker beneath the Antarctic ice, longtime rivals now worked side by side. Dr. Emily Zhang, formerly of DRPA, collaborated with Dr. Dmitry Volkov, once a classified Russian researcher, combining their classified knowledge of exotic physics to push the boundaries of what humanity thought possible. "The quantum gravity interface is stable," Emily announced over the secure channel. "We're ready to begin the first practical test of the theoretical framework." The test chamber hummed to life, combining technologies and theories from a dozen nations. As the team watched their instruments, something remarkable happened. A tiny point in space-time shifted, responding to their quantum gravity manipulations exactly as their unified theories had predicted. Sarah felt tears in her eyes as she watched the data stream in. "This is what they wanted to see," she whispered. "Not just scientific progress, but true unity. The ability to overcome our divisions for a greater purpose." The collected ship adjusted its position slightly, the first movement it had made in months. Their observers had noticed humanity's achievement, not just in the successful test, but in the unprecedented cooperation that made it possible. As celebration erupted across the global network of facilities, Sarah realized that humanity had already passed one crucial test. They had proven they could unite as one species, setting aside millennia of rivalry and suspicion to work toward a common goal. The path to faster-than-light travel was becoming clearer, but the journey had already transformed humanity in ways no one had expected. Maya Patel, a junior researcher at the Mumbai facility, would later say that spilling her chai tea was the best mistake she'd ever made. In her rush to clean up the spill, she accidentally transposed two variables in the quantum simulation she'd been running. Instead of crashing, the program produced something extraordinary. "Dr. Chen." Maya's voice cracked with panic over the video link. I think I just broke the laws of physics. Sarah, who had been reviewing data in Geneva, quickly pulled up the Mumbai facility's feed. The simulation showed something that should have been impossible, a stable quantum state that actually gained coherence over time instead of degrading. "Walk me through exactly what you did," Sarah said, her fingers already flying across her keyboard to replicate the conditions. "I was running the standard quantum gravity integration test, but I switched the resonance frequency with the phase alignment variable." Maya's hands shook as she pulled up her original calculations. "It was a mistake. I was going to delete it, but then it worked," Sarah finished, staring at her own screen in amazement. "Maya, don't move. Don't touch anything. I'm calling an emergency session." Within minutes, the global research network hummed with activity. Dr. Liu in Beijing immediately spotted the significance. "We've been thinking about quantum states all wrong," he explained, his excitement visible even through the holographic display. "We kept trying to maintain quantum coherence against entropy, but Maya's mistake shows us something new. Under specific conditions, quantum states can actually feed off environmental entropy." Dr. Torres in Santiago jumped in. "It's like discovering that a boat doesn't just have to fight against the current. It can use the current's energy to go faster than the water itself." Sarah felt her heart racing as she examined the implications. "We've been so focused on doing things the right way, the way we assumed advanced civilizations would do it. But our primitive understanding of quantum mechanics led us to try something no one else would consider." The collective's archived data, shared as part of the challenge, revealed that no other species had attempted anything like this. They had all developed FTL travel through careful, methodical advancement of existing theories. None had made the intuitive leap that came from Maya's fortuitous mistake. "Check this against the original signal," Dr. Volkov suggested from Antarctica. "There might be a connection we missed." When they overlaid Maya's altered equations with the quantum patterns from the collective signal, another revelation emerged. The signal's supposed errors, the ones that had initially caught Sarah's attention, matched perfectly with the new configuration. "They knew," Sarah whispered. "They knew our incomplete understanding of quantum mechanics would lead us to try unconventional approaches. That's why they included those specific patterns in the signal." Ambassador Collins, who had been quietly observing, spoke up. "Are you saying they expected us to make mistakes?" "Not mistakes," Sarah corrected, a smile spreading across her face. "Creative leaps. While other species followed the textbook, humanity's tendency to color outside the lines led us to discover something entirely new." Maya's accidental discovery rapidly evolved into a revolutionary theory of quantum gravity manipulation. Instead of fighting against spacetime's natural tendency toward entropy, the new approach used that very tendency as its power source. It was elegant, efficient, and completely different from any existing FTL theory in the collective's database. As the global team refined the theory, Sarah noticed the collective's ship adjusting its position again, its crystalline surface refracting sunlight in new patterns. They were paying very close attention now. "Maya," Sarah called over the link. "How do you feel about having your name on a paper that's going to rewrite physics?" The young researcher laughed nervously. "Honestly, I'm just glad I spilled my tea." In the weeks that followed, humanity's approach to faster-than-light travel took shape around Maya's beautiful mistake. They weren't just solving the challenge, they were revolutionizing the very nature of space travel. And somewhere in the crystalline ship above, their observers watched with growing fascination as humanity proved, once again, that their greatest breakthroughs often came from their most remarkable mistakes. The prototype sat in the center of the Antarctic testing chamber, a deceptively small device for something designed to bend the fabric of spacetime. Its quantum gravity core pulsed with a soft blue light, the result of Maya's entropy harnessing breakthrough combined with innovations from research teams worldwide. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the control station, surrounded by holographic displays showing real-time data from thousands of sensors. The collected ship had moved closer to Earth's atmosphere, their interest in today's test evident in their positioning. "All facilities report ready," Yuki announced from her communication station. Every research center around the globe had linked their quantum computers to support this first full-scale test. "We're receiving clear data streams from all monitoring stations." Dr. Liu's voice came through from Beijing. "Quantum field harmonics are stable, ready to initiate primary sequence. Mumbai station confirms entropy tap is primed and reading nominal levels," Maya added, her voice steady despite the enormous pressure. Sarah took a deep breath. "Begin initialization sequence. Dr. Torres, start your countdown." From Santiago, Isabella's voice rang clear. "Beginning final countdown. Mark in 10, 9. The prototype's hum deepened as power began flowing through its systems. The quantum gravity core's glow intensified, creating ethereal patterns in the air around it. 5, 4. Adebayo's voice cut in from Lagos. "Quantum algorithms are running green across all parameters. 2, 1. Initiate," Sarah commanded. The prototype's glow suddenly shifted, becoming almost impossible to look at directly. The air around it seemed to fold, creating patterns that hurt the eyes to observe. Every sensor in the chamber began recording data that defied conventional physics. "First phase successful," Dr. Volkov reported from his station. "Moving to stage 2. The test probe, a small sphere equipped with the prototype drive, rose from its mounting. It hung in the air, surrounded by the impossible geometries created by the quantum gravity field. "Probe telemetry is stable," Emily Zhang confirmed. "Beginning spatial displacement test." The probe flickered, its outline becoming indistinct. According to the sensors, it was simultaneously occupying multiple points in space, riding the quantum possibilities they had learned to harness. "Energy consumption is actually negative," Maya reported excitedly. "The system is feeding off background entropy exactly as predicted." Sarah watched the readings with growing amazement. They weren't just achieving faster-than-light travel, they were doing it in a way that required virtually no energy input. The drive used the universe's own tendency toward entropy as its power source. "Ready for final stage," Sarah announced. "All stations, confirm go/no-go status." One by one, each facility reported ready. The collected ship had moved even closer, its crystalline surface refracting sunlight in patterns that seemed to mirror the quantum effects in the test chamber. "Execute final stage," Sarah ordered. The probe's outline blurred completely, and for a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the sensors erupted with data. The probe had briefly existed at multiple points in space simultaneously, before reappearing exactly 1 light-minute away. A distance that should have taken over 60 seconds to traverse. "Transit time?" Sarah asked, barely daring to breathe. 0.3 seconds, Yuki responded, her voice filled with awe. "We did it. We actually did it." The test chamber erupted in cheers, echoed by celebrations in facilities around the world. They had achieved faster-than-light travel, but more than that, they had done it in a way no other species had ever attempted. Through the quantum communications array, they detected increased activity from the collected ship. The aliens were examining their test results with intense interest. "Their quantum signals are spiking," Adebayo reported from Lagos. "I think we surprised them." Sarah smiled. "Good, because we're just getting started." She turned to her global team. "This isn't just a proof of concept anymore. We've shown that humanity's approach to physics, our willingness to embrace unconventional solutions, can revolutionize space travel itself." As the team began analyzing the vast amounts of data from the test, Sarah noticed something peculiar in the quantum readings. The probe hadn't just moved faster than light. It had done something else, something unexpected, something that suggested their breakthrough might be even more significant than they had imagined. Humanity had passed the collective's challenge, but in doing so, They had stumbled upon something that would change the future of galactic civilization itself. The collective's crystalline ship descended through Earth's atmosphere like a cascade of liquid light, coming to rest above the Global Sciences Initiative headquarters in Geneva. Its surface shifted and flowed, creating an impromptu landing pad that merged seamlessly with the building's architecture. Inside the main conference chamber, Dr. Sarah Chen stood with her global team, watching as the collective's representative materialized, not through any conventional teleportation, but by simply stepping out of a fold in spacetime itself. Humanity, the crystalline being's form, rippled with what seemed like pleasure. "You have surprised us, in the most delightful way possible." Ambassador Collins stepped forward. "We've achieved faster-than-light travel within your deadline. We've met your challenge." "No," the being corrected, its form shimmering with amusement. "You've exceeded it, in ways we hoped but dared not expect." The chamber filled with confused murmurs. Sarah felt her pulse quicken as realization began to dawn. 17 species before you have faced this same test," the being continued. "Each received a signal tailored to their scientific understanding. Each was given tools suited to their particular development path." Dr. Liu spoke up from where he stood with the Beijing team. "The other species, they all achieved FTL travel as well." "They did," the being confirmed, each following established principles, building carefully on existing knowledge. All 17 developed variations of standard faster-than-light technology. The beam's form shifted, creating a display of different drive systems in the air. Efficient, reliable, predictable. "But that's not what you were really testing for, was it?" Sarah asked, her voice quiet but firm. The beam's form brightened. Dr. Chen grasps the truth. "The development of FTL travel was never the true test. We wanted to see how you would approach the challenge itself." Maya stepped forward from the Mumbai team. "Our mistake. You knew something like that might happen." "We hoped," the being corrected. "Humanity's greatest strength is not your technology or your intelligence, but your unique way of thinking. Other species follow paths. Humans forge new ones." The beam gestured, and the air filled with holographic displays showing the history of human innovation. "Your species questions everything, combines unlikely elements, embraces apparent mistakes, and turns them into breakthroughs. Where others see immutable laws, you see possibilities." The signal, Sarah realized. "You deliberately included errors that matched our misconceptions about quantum mechanics." "Yes, other species would have dismissed those patterns as interference or mistakes. Only humanity would see them as hints pointing toward new possibilities. Your primitive understanding of physics freed you to think in ways no other species considered." The beam's form expanded, filling the chamber with shifting patterns of light. "Your entropy-harnessing drive system isn't just a new way to achieve faster-than-light travel. It's an entirely new approach to physics itself, one that even we hadn't considered." Ambassador Collins blinked in surprise. "Are you saying our solution is actually better than existing FTL technology? More efficient, more elegant, and with implications that extend far beyond mere space travel?" The being's form pulsed with excitement. "Already our scientists are exploring the possibilities your approach has revealed. You've done more than pass a test. You've advanced galactic science itself." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine as she understood the full implications. "The other 17 species, you've been collecting different approaches to problem solving, haven't you? Building a database of how different forms of intelligence tackle challenges." "Indeed, and humanity's contribution may be the most valuable yet. Your ability to think laterally, to question fundamental assumptions, to turn apparent mistakes into revolutionary breakthroughs. These are rare and precious traits in our galaxy." The beam turned to address the entire chamber. "The age of Earth's isolation is ending, but you will not enter galactic society as junior members to be guided. You will enter as teachers, bringing fresh perspectives to sciences that have grown too rigid, too set in their ways." As the implications of these words sank in, Sarah realized that humanity had done more than prove themselves ready for the stars. They had proven that sometimes the most primitive approach could be the most revolutionary of all. 1 year after the collective's revelation, Earth had transformed beyond recognition. The Global Sciences Initiative headquarters in Geneva now hosted representatives from 30 different alien species, all eager to learn humanity's unique approach to problem-solving. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the quantum physics lecture hall, watching as beings of various forms, crystalline, energy-based, and organic, absorbed her explanation of Maya's entropy harnessing breakthrough. Their questions revealed both their advanced knowledge and their struggle to think beyond established principles. But the quantum coherence should collapse, a crystalline being similar to their first collective contact insisted. All known physics suggests. Known physics suggested many things, Sarah interrupted gently. Until someone spilled a cup of tea and questioned those suggestions, she smiled at Maya, who now led her own research division. Sometimes the greatest breakthroughs come from embracing what should be impossible. In orbit, Earth's first galactic port took shape, its design incorporating principles from a dozen alien architectures combined with distinctly human innovations. Ships from across the galaxy arrived daily, bringing scholars, scientists, and explorers eager to experience humanity's revolutionary perspectives firsthand. Dr. Liu's gravity wave team had partnered with Centaurian physicists to develop new forms of planetary defense that worked by redirecting rather than opposing forces, another uniquely human approach that challenged conventional thinking. We learned it from martial arts, he explained to his fascinated colleagues, using an opponent's strength instead of fighting it. The Antarctic Research Facility had become a hub for cross-species collaboration. Dr. Volka worked alongside beings of pure energy, combining their understanding of quantum states with humanity's knack for unconventional solutions. Their latest project promised to revolutionize galactic communication itself. Humanity's greatest gift, Ambassador Collins remarked during a Galactic Council meeting, isn't our technology or our achievements. It's our ability to look at the same problems everyone else has seen and find entirely new solutions. The entropy harnessing drive had sparked a renaissance in galactic science. Species that had relied on conventional FTL travel for millennia now explored new possibilities based on human insights. The galaxy itself seemed to pulse with renewed energy as ancient civilizations rediscovered the joy of questioning their own assumptions. Maya's team had expanded to include researchers from 15 different species, each bringing their own knowledge while learning to embrace human-style creative thinking. Their latest breakthrough promised to transform energy production across the galaxy, all stemming from that one accidental tea spill. "We've created something unprecedented," Sarah noted during a private moment with her original team. Not just new technologies, but a new way of thinking about science itself. The collective's prediction had proven true. Earth had become a center of galactic learning, but not in the way anyone had expected. Instead of students coming to learn established knowledge, they came to learn how to question that knowledge, how to think beyond their own certainties. Adebayo's quantum computing innovations had spread across the galaxy, his algorithms teaching artificial intelligences to incorporate human-style lateral thinking. "The best computer isn't the one with the most power," he explained to a group of alien AI researchers, "but the one that knows when to try something seemingly illogical." In the Geneva headquarters botanical garden, Dr. Torres had created a space where scientists of all species could meet informally, sharing ideas over Earth beverages and alien equivalents. Some of the most revolutionary breakthroughs emerged from these casual conversations, where rigid scientific protocols gave way to imaginative speculation. The collective's crystalline ship remained in orbit, but now as partners rather than observers. They had become humanity's strongest advocates in the galactic community, helping to bridge the gap between Earth's innovative chaos and the galaxy's established order. Sarah stood at the window of her office, watching ships from across the cosmos dock at the orbital port. Each one carried beings seeking not just knowledge, but a new way of thinking about the universe itself. Earth had indeed taken its place among the stars, not as students but as teachers, showing the galaxy that sometimes the most primitive perspective could lead to the most profound innovations. "We thought we were taking our last stand," she mused to herself, "but we were really taking our first steps into a future no one could have imagined." As if in response, a new ship emerged from FTL travel using the entropy harnessing drive, its arrival marked not by a flash of light, but by a beautiful ripple in space-time itself, a permanent reminder that humanity's greatest strength lay not in knowing the rules, but in knowing when to rewrite them.